Jai Hind and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint. I have with me Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar
PVSM, AVSM, VSM.
to discuss the very important situation emerging out of Afghanistan. I'm sure a lot of us are not surprised by the news which is coming out there. We all know that the country is going to go into chaos, and this is something which is being spoken about openly. What kind of chaos is the country going to go into, and what is in front of India is something a lot of people don't talk about. To talk about this, I have with me, as I said, Lieutenant General Shankar. Sir, thank you so much to bring about this particular issue.
Thanks a lot, Adi. Thanks for calling me over.
So, sometime back, we've done this particular episode on the general stock as well, where we spoke about the card table, as per se, in Afghanistan, the great game which is going to be dealt again. Couple of big players in the great game as emerging today, and there are some side players, of course. USA is one of it, which is kind of running away in what we can see. Apart from that, you've got Afghanistan itself, you've got Pakistan, you've got China, and of course India. Pakistan is trying hard to bring a connect between the Taliban and the Chinese. What do you think? Where does this thing go? And let me just put this across: what happens if they succeed?
Well, let's look at this scenario as it is emerging, and let's project it ahead. I would say the USA stepped out of Afghanistan, but it is not hands off. Right? It's like one of the US generals had said, it's the end of the chapter. A new one is to begin, it's not the end of the story. So there is issues to go. Pakistan, as we all know, is totally entrenched into the Afghan game. Right? They are fronting the Taliban and giving all kinds of aid. They've also said they'll use the Pakistan Air Force against the Afghan National Army. Right? And in some quarters there is already joy and celebration about US leaving Afghanistan. As much there is trepidation amongst the intelligentsia there of getting sucked into Afghanistan. As far as China is concerned, China is worried both ways about religious extremism flowing into Xinjiang, and also the greed of the minerals in Afghanistan. And they are trying to engage both Taliban and the Afghan National Army, put money on both sides of the table. And they are not, at this point of time, it doesn't appear as if they are willing to get into Afghanistan directly. They will encourage Pakistan to do it. Maybe they'll outsource it to Pakistan, and Pakistan in turn will outsource it to Taliban and LET and all those. And probably they've put their special forces also into the game. I mean, that's the par for the course for Pakistan. Now, this is the present. Let's look at it slightly into the future. Okay, there are two scenarios which can emerge. Both are extreme scenarios. What is the first scenario? That once, say, maybe in 4-5 months, the Taliban is able to overpower the ANSF, Afghan National Army, and form the government on its own, and push these people out and rules the roost. In which case, Pakistan will heavily back Afghanistan. China would have backed Taliban and Pakistan, and that will develop in the next 4 to 5 years. Alternate CPEC route will come up, the Peshawar, Kandahar route, and things like that will open up. That is one option where China and Pakistan succeed in Afghanistan. In which case, what happens? I mean, let's look at it. The complete western border of Pakistan would have stabilized, but if that happens in the next 4 to 5 years, if the western border of Pakistan is stabilized and the strategic space invariably falls into Pakistan's lap, now with the backing of China, then they will turn towards us. Right? They will turn towards us. Implicit in this is that USA has not been able to do anything, and it has virtually failed, or it has left this area on its own, like it has done in other places. It has just walked away from Afghanistan, like it walked away from Vietnam. Yeah, it's possible that could happen. And in any case, Russia is on the side of China in most of these issues. So you might find this scenario, it's an extreme scenario. And this extreme scenario is bad for India, obviously. You'll agree with me, the western border is secure, and then Pakistan can concentrate on the eastern border, and we're looking at 5 years. If this happens, Pakistan economy also will stabilize in the process. It will become a stronger state, right? And the CPEC would have really flourished to some extent. In which case, the Xinjiang and Tibet regions would have been quiet, and uh, China would be on the east. So 5 to 10 years hence, if you look at it, we might have to go into a two-front kind of a situation. Okay, if Afghanistan, we leave Afghanistan out. So our interest is where? Back in JNK and back in Gilgit-Baltistan. You agree with this scenario or not?
Focus comes home, sir.
Yeah, focus comes home, right? So this is one scenario. Let's look at the other scenario. The other scenario is Pakistan and China don't succeed in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Okay, that's extreme. They're caught. USA and say to a large extent even Iran backing the Afghan National Army in some form or the other, because Iran will not let the Sunni Taliban take over Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it has a big cost for Iran. And USA is not just going to walk away from here. We have to remember that. So, this civil war will continue. Some part will be controlled by the Taliban, some part will be controlled by Afghanistan National Army, and you'll find a seesaw thing going on, in which case Pakistan is totally sucked into this. China also will get sucked in, right? Maybe at some point of time when the things are favorable to Taliban, China would have entered the fray in a bigger manner, and then would have, and when things turn a bit, it's stuck. And Taliban is someone you can't really trust already, right? So whatever Taliban says, you can't trust it. And there are also reports that Uyghur militants are fighting alongside Taliban. So they're getting war experience. So they might go back to Xinjiang and start the whole process, along with IS and Al Qaeda and all this nonsense. And you also see already there are 2-3 cases which have happened where Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa KP has gone into a bit of a problem. So if Baluch things also start, you'll find that Pakistan is sucked and it is permanently looking westwards. China is also sucked in there. Then what happens? Are you in a strong position? You get a great window of opportunity, right? When they are looking somewhere else, you can stabilize. Right? So it again comes back to the fact that you get a chance to stabilize your own situation. That's the second scenario. In both scenarios, what is the common denominator? Internal stability of India.
Back home. Yes, sir.
Back home. No? So that is something which we have to understand fully.
Interesting. These are two independent scenarios, as a matter of fact, which are, I would say, diametrically opposite to each other. And both of them have the similar answer for us.
Yes.
In the first scenario, you mentioned China is kind of able to, put it in a stronghold and stuff like that. How does China guarantee its interests over there? It's not been able to do that successfully in some countries. Some countries questionable.
They've already invested in the current Afghan government. The Taliban is asking it to invest in, the government as it controls. So they're welcoming money. You just have to follow the money. That money, right? In which case, whichever government is in Afghanistan, the Chinese money talks, and they're able to stabilize the government. And if they stabilize the government and leave the government to do what it wants, as far as they get their cut out of it. What is China's interest? China has two interests: minerals and ensure that militant Islam doesn't get into Xinjiang. If these two things they can achieve by putting money on the table, it doesn't matter who rules Afghanistan for them. Fine. In which case, Pakistan will get heavily committed there, and they can, broad base the CPC through routes through Afghanistan, and whatever good offices they have with Iran, they can use to create alternate routes. So that's the scenario which could emerge.
But still,
Right.
there's going to be a bit of a doubt in the Chinese mind when they enter a lawless sort of a land.
See, again, as I said, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, it's
or-
not.
This is not a 3-month scenario, 6-month scenario. Let's be very clear. This will emerge over a period of time, right? And for that, one of the things is USA has to walk away from the situation completely.
Yeah.
Which it won't. Because why did USA go there in the first place? To protect its homeland after the 9/11 attacks. It still needs that guarantee. That guarantee it will not get from Taliban, because Taliban, the whole talks in Doha were about the guarantee that Taliban will not allow Al Qaeda or Daesh to prosper when they come into power. And that it is apparent now will not be held. If it is not held, right, USA will interfere. Okay, but then as India, we need to hold both the scenarios and be clear what we are going to do out of it.
Correct.
Okay, and there are 3 issues in this entire scenario which I would like to put across. 3 interests, Indian interests. The first and the core Indian interest in this entire scenario, this is an opportunity and a necessity that we put J&K in order. Right. And I think the government of India seems to be aware of this window of opportunity, because they have started the political process. Okay. And the entire process will throw a dark side of Pakistan up, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
And that dark side is we need to use psychologically to convince the Kashmiris that their best bet is with India. Okay. And then we hold elections and start normalizing the situation. Okay. In the next 1 to 2 years, before any kind of stabilization takes place, the situation is going to be quite fluid on the Afghan border. Even if China and Pakistan would succeed, next 1 year is going to be chaos. And this next 1 year is critical for us to get hold of J&K. The second interest of India is that Afghanistan. We have tremendous support in Afghanistan. I was speaking to a businessman there, a local Indian businessman who's been in Afghanistan for over 2 decades. He was telling me, and it surprised me, that everyone trusts India. They hate Pakistanis. There's a love-hate relationship between Pakistan and them. They love to hate and hate to love Pakistanis. So they're never going to trust them. They're not going to trust anyone else. He said even Taliban trusts India to some extent. I mean, the people trust. So we will always have that advantage. And it is in our interest that we use this people's power, if I may say, to get things moving in Afghanistan. Right? And ensure that whichever government comes to power in Afghanistan, and we build bridges with Afghanistan, and along with Iran, open an alternate access into Afghanistan. Right? So this is something which is, and you also see in the current scenario, Pakistan is getting to Kabul from the north, the northern side they are concentrating. That is to give buffer to China. So, right? So there's a method in this madness which is happening on ground. So, and okay.
That's true.
So
they can easily cut off the southern border where, Kandahar and all that area is there.
Okay. So, but the western border they can't cut. That is out of their reach as of now. And that is where we have to open up and keep this, whichever government is there, we have I won't just stake in it, we help them stabilize. Okay. So that our interests are taken care of, and we have a people-to-people connect with them. And we ensure that Pakistan does not get the strategic space it still desires. That's the second interest. So Kashmir, a third interest is something which I want to open up. In all cases, in my view, the center of gravity is what? POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. See, when we abrogated Article 370, we said that is part of ours. In fact, in the S12 assembly of JNK also, we had seats for Gilgit-Baltistan and POK, which were kept vacant. And we said we will take that over. Of course, the general perception which went around at that time was that we will take over militarily. But that's the worst case option. We should not. And we need not. So, in my view, for India, the center of gravity is the Gilgit-Baltistan. The moment you make a move towards Gilgit-Baltistan, what do? You get a direct access to Afghanistan. You interfere with the CPEC. You get a 3-point access to Xinjiang, one through the top. Already we have access through the Karakoram Pass. The moment you enter Gilgit-Baltistan, the Kunzrab Pass, that opens up. And then you handle the Wakhan corridor. Okay. And then you have a direct access into Afghanistan. That means you virtually outflank Pakistan. The moment that happens, the entire equation in this region will change. So the third interest for us, as far as I'm concerned, is to reclaim Gilgit-Baltistan and POK. Okay. Now you agree with this, or
Absolutely,
you have
because one of the things that comes out of what you're saying is because we need to have a direct access into Afghanistan, and that's something I think which is the bottom line. Because as we were discussing yesterday, so there's a resistance movement sort of a thing lining up in the northern Afghanistan, as was done before.
Yeah, look, that northern element will start. That's okay. That is one given thing. What is interesting is what's happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That Kohistan attack is just on the border of Gilgit-Baltistan. Okay, as it is with Gilgit-Baltistan, there is unrest out there. It is not as if
It's a
political, right? There is this thing. I'm not saying that you go and do insurgency there and X, Y, Z. No, start the political game. Or politics is important in this. See, what was Article 370 all about? Politics.
normalization.
See, the political thing is more important than the military. So you start the political process. How to start the political process, I don't have to tell our Prime Minister or Home Minister or External Affairs Minister. I mean, they are much more competent than on this. And start the political process. Start claiming, make an outreach. Start developing Gilgit-Baltistan, developing your people out there. Yeah, and in POK. Just yesterday, I saw an article in some either Dawn or Pakistan Today, whatever, where one of the ministers of Pakistan went and he was there were eggs thrown at him in POK. People don't like him. Opportunity is there. They're not happy. There have been also reports where Imran Khan has been heckled in Muzaffarabad once before. That dam which is there, the Daimar Basha dam which they're building in Gilgit-Baltistan is causing a lot of heartburn. So the political field is ripe. Strike. Start the process. The moment you start the process, you will find a lot of things happening.
Taking from this, how do you think China will respond to something like that, sir?
Well, China will start negotiating with you immediately. Immediately they'll start negotiating. That's my assumption.
Position of strength.
Ultimately, remember, it's the politics which is more important than the military. The military is the last option. They will come and they'll negotiate the boundary. I've always maintained in this triangle of China, Pakistan, and India, the center of gravity is Gilgit-Baltistan.
All three are involved, yes.
You interfere with CPEC, you interfere with, or rather, you get a outreach into Afghanistan, you get a handle into Xinjiang, and you outflank Pakistan. And if that area goes into trouble, Pakistan is in deep trouble. In fact, Pakistan itself will react better. You just transferred the LOC into their depth, no?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of value in that. The LOC then, and that outreach that side will help us stabilize JNK also. I mean, look at it this way. If people from Gilgit-Baltistan want to join India or POK want to join India, there's no reason for JNK to be separate, no?
Yeah.
The whole game changes. Yeah, you can think of a special dispensation then to this area and all that, but that's a later day story. But start the process. Unless you start the process, you'll get nowhere.
Hmm. Basically, it's the nerves. If they before they press our nerves, we need to kind of find theirs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. See, I will put it this way. Given a choice, I will work for the worst case situation, which I painted. I have to stave off the worst case situation. I don't want 5 years later be confronted with a situation in India where Afghanistan is under happy rule of Pakistan come China, and they are stabilized and they both start looking at us.
Worst case.
Worst case. So to upset the worst case, you strike politically at Gilgit-Baltistan. I might sound very ambitious. I might sound very woolly-headed and impractical, but give me a better answer.
No, I agree with you, sir, because at the end of it, one of the things that one needs to look at, and in this entire situation, this is going to explode in our faces in this particular region.
Yeah.
And it's going to explode worse than it exploded in, after the 9/11 attacks. That's the time they were on the defensive. Now they are on the front foot. So if we allow that area to stabilize, it obviously makes sense for Pakistan to start looking the other direction. So that's obviously going to be us. And their fair weather friends, sweeter than honey, taller than the tree or whatever.
Yeah, they'll do. And in any case, Gilgit-Baltistan and POK are our area.
Absolutely.
This is our area, so let's claim it back. There are many methods to do it. I mean, I've already written an article on that, and maybe I'll follow it up as to how to go about it.
So correct, sir, because a lot of people also actually say that the Chinese would have given us a message that they gave us in Ladakh before or after, but Article 370 and whatever happened after that was just a, probably a nudge to them that listen, now's the time. We need to do it.
The whole idea of this incursion into Eastern Ladakh was to hold us there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have turned anyway. Our CDS had also spoken at that time. He was the army chief. Even our defense minister had spoken that the next stop is Gilgit. We'll talk about Gilgit-Baltistan.
POK, yes, sir. Next stop, POK.
Yeah, next stop, POK. If we had gone that side, where would CPEC and all this happen? What is the ramification is huge. We need to do that. We still have that ace. That's our ace, the way I look at it.
Cards.
But we need to do internally a lot of things. We also need to build for it. This is a window for the next 5 years where you can stabilize JNK, you build your military, you go towards Gilgit-Baltistan, and you go with Iran and USA to have a say in Afghanistan, so that one fails, other is the backup for you. So that you need a lot of political investment, you need a lot of military investment.
People, nation.
Yeah, people, nation. You have to, and it doesn't matter whether it's this government or the next government or the next government. We need to have a long-term plan. India has to have a long-term plan. All right? And how to handle this whole situation. Yeah. Any questions?
Well, absolutely, sir, because a lot of heads are scratching today. And, for those who actually follow geopolitics and especially the issues in this particular region, apart from the South China Sea and everything, one would realize Afghanistan is going to become the center of gravity for pretty much everything in the next some time. USA obviously wants to move away and say that neighbors need to do stuff. But having said that, it has got its own interest to kind of maintain its presence in the region and to ensure that things go, if not 100% as they want to, but they don't go out of control. I agree with you on that front. I mean, because the whole
See,
thing that US is going away is
no, it's not going away. There is no doubt that Afghanistan, like you rightly said, will be the center of gravity of international geopolitics. But for India, my view is the center of gravity will be Gilgit-Baltistan.
yeah. I was coming to that. Yes,
I mean, we shouldn't lose sight of that, right? And of course, Afghanistan, in the overall sense, will be that. There's no doubt about it. And we need to play this game well. If you play this game well, even the Indian Ocean region will fall to you. I mean, whether fall, I won't say fall to you. You will be able, you will succeed there also. There's a tremendous connect with the maritime environment. The more China gets pulled that side, see, people say that when we look at the Himalayan border, we are neglecting the Indian Ocean region. As China gets sucked in that side, right, they will look less at, they will have less capacity to come here.
obviously.
Okay, so there is a huge fallout here.
I'll say something a little different. So if they want us to look up there, let's look up there. That's not a problem.
Let's what
Let's
no
look
harm.
up there and look properly and do whatever needs to be done.
Proper do and pull them there.
Pull them there only.
We already done. We already done that, right? And in fact, if you see their thing, there's a lot of hot talk about the Navy, maximum ships and all that, but already they are not able to do anything. They are not able to
Yes.
even think of crossing the Taiwan Straits. They made one foray towards the southern South China Sea, or rather around Indonesia and Philippines and all that, and they've had to go back, and they have to go back because the western door is opening, and remember, their west is remote to them.
Yeah.
Right? They have to put a hell of a lot of effort in the west, and that's rest too. And it's not. We need to play our cards right.
Absolutely. A lot of food for thought, I think, in terms of what we see happening. Of course, there is the news that Taliban is taking over. This is something that we see in the media today, but one fails to understand there are a lot more. When you say Afghanistan, there is a lot more happening than just the Taliban and the ANA. There is a lot else which is there.
Happening. You know, look, I get a daily report almost from someone in Afghanistan. If you read it, you realize, yes, Taliban is making rapid strides. There's no doubt about it. But equally, Taliban is publicizing it. Their media is very good, and I mean, they're publicizing it more than the Afghans. It's not as if the Afghans are not doing anything.
Correct.
Or rather, the Afghan government is not doing anything. There are places where they're pushing the Taliban out also. Right? And sooner or later, things will happen. Okay. And see, what is the greatest source of sustenance for Taliban Pakistan in this area? Narcotics. Drugs. The drug volume has grown about 8 to 10 times in the past 20 years by monitor amount and volume. So that is what sustains them. So if that is interrupted by, say, the Afghans themselves, things will change. But let's face facts, it will not.
Who'd want to take out a money saucer?
Yeah.
It'll be a far-fetched idea. Afghanistan will not be able to, the Taliban will not be able to stay in 5-star hotels as they're staying today if they cut it out.
This is a joker in the pack. The joker in this entire pack is narcotics.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know which way it will flow and how it will affect this thing. And the Pakistan army will, as greedy as it is,
they'll get into it. Yes, sir.
They'll get into it. I mean, I'm sure they're already in it.
Now that you say that.
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. Never had a doubt.
Interesting. So if I may sum up, I think you brought out two very, very interesting scenarios on, as I said earlier, diametrically opposite paradigms. One where the Chinese are able to put money on the table and get what they want to do via Pakistan directly, another question altogether, but they're able to get what they want to in terms of their investments and their greed within Afghanistan. Creates a huge issue because it frees up Pakistan's western border. It, has a lot of these free loafers roaming around the place who Pakistan can keep pumping into our territories and create chaos, as it's been doing for ever and ever, as per se. The second scenario, which is the very interesting one, and which is I'd kind of like to bet my money on it. I won't want to make a this thing, but what you're trying to say is that the Pakistanis and the Chinese would get sucked into this entire thing. Taliban, being Taliban, will take money from everyone and do what it wants to do, as it's done pretty much forever. This thing that leaves us an opportunity in terms of actually that leaves us with a very, very good opportunity to stabilize ourselves and do what it needs to do. Both the scenarios come up with one very, very key answer. If we need to make sure that the Pakistan and China nexus doesn't hit us, Baltistan. If we need to make sure that we take advantage of an opportunity, as I mentioned in the second scenario, the answer is Gilgit Baltistan. This is something that you brought out pretty, very well. So I must say,
And stabilize J&K, first
Yeah.
priority. Set your own home in order. Yeah.
Political process, the whole system of governance, as per se, in terms of people's governments, democracy, and this and that, which will give us a lot of marks in terms of the diplomacy around the world, because that is something that our friendly neighbor in Pakistan could play up as much as it can. But having said that, sir, one thing remains to be seen is that we've spoken about these 3-4 players, and we see Indian outreach to around this particular region. There are some silent players who are also watching, which we need to see how how they react. One of them, as the general mentioned, is Iran. I'd like to put in Russia, who's kind of just watching from the sideline. Saudi, who won't want this area to implode, to have another, extremist fraction going on the other side of their country. So there's a lot which is happening here. India needs to look at his own interests and stabilize and do whatever is required to be done for making sure we have an upper hand. Sir, thank you so much for bringing this out pretty clearly, actually. I must say, it is important that we must recognize these kind of opportunities and take advantage. It's something we've not done since our independence.
Thanks a lot, Adi, and till next time.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.